And we are live. All right. What's up, guys? My name is Hal451, and we are starting back with our podcast. Finally, I've been off for a long time, but I'm super excited to be joined by my friend MoonSpartan here.
How's it going,
MoonSpartan,
guys?
thank you so much for joining us. And
Thanks for having me.
do you go by Moon or MoonSpartan, or do you
Uh,
care?
yeah, most people will call me Moon.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. It works for me.
I like your name though. What are the origins of your name?
I got really lucky with that name. I got really lucky with that name. What it was is I think there was a name generator that I was using for a game one time. And it came up with MoonSpartan, and I was like, whoa. I was like, that's a really like cartoonish almost sounding striking name that like it sounds like a character that you could almost picture, you know. And the minute I saw it, I was like, oh, it appeals to a broad spectrum of people. It's not offensive. you know
Yeah,
it's not offensive, it's fun. It was kind of cartoonish in my mind, and I was just like, you know what, that's the one I'm going to start using. Before that, I was going to use something like Save the Gamers, because it was during that time when there was all that backlash against, I think especially male gamer groups or something like that,
mm.
the Gamergate and all that was going on.
Gamergate. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, okay, well, I got to get that. I got to clear that bad name. Let's make it Save the Gamers. And but once I found Moonspart, it just felt so like unassuming and so fun, and I was just like, okay, this is a much better name than Save the Gamers.
that's
Not
very
political
cool.
as well.
I can't believe you got that from a name generator.
Lucky, completely lucky.
I
Yeah.
remember I always used to use those when I would start like a new character in pretty much any fantasy RPG, like like Skyrim or something like that. I'd always use those name generators because it's so hard to figure out a name.
Oh, yeah. No, I will. I'll sit there trying to. That's the worst part of the game for me. Like Skyrim or any of those games, I'll sit there with like a name generator and I'll go through it for like an hour, and then of course I still have to, I have to make my
And
characters
then you have
feel.
to get to the character creation screen.
But I'm always asking myself, is that really the character? Like, does that name embody the character that I want to create?
Yeah. Oh, that's
It's a
awesome.
problem.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. I see that we got Jimbo here, Miss Chibi T, Lunar Wave. Thank you guys so much.
Good to see you,
Um,
Lunar. Good to see you,
we
Jimbo.
we are just going to jump in and talk a little bit about the games that we've been playing. So Moon, why don't you go ahead and tell me about what you've been playing?
Well, I've been on a horror game kind of bent right now. I've been playing Dead Space 2, uh, Alien Isolation, and I just started playing a little bit of the Amnesia, the Dark Descent the other night. So those games are pretty closely related, and Alien Isolation and Amnesia for certain are super related. The biggest difference I think between the two seems to be obviously having something that's more kind of physically there most of the time, and then also the ability to craft items, which you can do in Alien Isolation, which you can't do in Amnesia. But they feel very much the same in a lot of ways. So um, having a blast with those. Was there anything else I've been playing lately? What was I playing before that?
So,
Those were
um,
the major ones.
tell me about Amnesia. Is this your first time playing Amnesia?
Yeah, it's my first time playing it, but I did watch Christopher Odd play it on YouTube.
Okay,
If that, yeah, are you a fan of Christopher Odd? Have you
I
seen?
am. Yeah, I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of
We talked
Christopher
about
Odd.
this. I thought so.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I watched his playthrough of it. I like to watch playthroughs of games while I fall asleep. That's something that I do. Like I'll put on. That's what I do.
Great
Yeah,
game to
I
fall
usually
asleep
don't
to
listen to
is
music or
Amnesia.
anything. I know, but that's what I do. I like to listen to the voice of somebody doing a let's play or something like that. It's soothing to me. Like on low. But yeah, so I watched him play it, and this is my very first time playing it for myself. And last night, while playing it, like it was pretty terrifying. Like even though I'd watched it like a year ago or something, because I was falling asleep, I missed parts of it, so I didn't know exactly what to do all the time.
Right.
Plus, it does it does okay. Now that I think about it, it does have a different approach than Alien Isolation. Um, and that the way that that your light is going down, like you're running out of fuel for your lantern
Hmm.
as you're trying to find the solution. There's that byplay there of like, oh, well, I gotta go because I'm running out of light, and if I run out of light, I'm gonna go insane, and this thing is chasing me. And so it's like it keeps that pressure on you all the time. Whereas Alien
Yeah,
Isolation, you can hide, throw something, wait. Alien Isolation's like go, 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 go.
yeah, it's such a brilliant mechanic. I thought Amnesia does it so well. How you have the insanity mechanic where you slowly go insane if you're in the dark for too long, but then you have to stay in the dark if you want to hide from the monster. And so it does a really good job at balancing that. I think I remember there was one part in that game when I was playing. This is not a spoiler or anything, but when I was playing through that game, that you can light candles as you're going throughout rooms and things like that. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to light all the candles.
Oh no.
And I was like,
Oh
oh, it's just
no.
nice and bright in here. And then the monster shows up, and I'm like, now there's nowhere to hide because I've lit all the candles.
Yeah.
So, man, Amnesia was one of the first horror games that really, really like legitimately affected me. Like
Mm,
I played it for maybe 2 hours or so, and I was like, I have to take a break. I, it's it's not like it was spooking me out, and like I was afraid that there was gonna be something that would jump out at me in my apartment, but it just was so intense.
mm-hmm.
I love those kinds of experiences, though. Um, Same thing with Alien Isolation and Dead Space. I mean, I don't think Dead Space is quite as much of a horror game because you can fight back, but
Right.
definitely such great atmosphere and such a great environment in those games. And
Yeah.
have you played through? So you're playing through Dead Space 2 right now. Have you
Yep.
played through Dead Space 3?
I have not. I have not. I will say though, the difference between Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2, the lighting difference is pretty incredible. Like
Yeah.
Dead Space 2 almost feels like a discotheque in some ways. Because there's so much, there's so much neon lighting and black light lighting and stuff on the walls and everything.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of reminds me of like the late '90s, early 2000s kind of like need for black lighting on everything.
Right.
um like everything's in neon. So like that's the major thing is like is number two is so much more colorful than number one. Number one feels a little bit more like grunge feeling, a little more rustic, a little more sepia tone-ish.
Hmm.
And two just feels like this, like the best way now to describe it is like a discotheque. It's so much more brilliantly lit and so many neon colors, so space agey. It's really cool in that way. But I've never played Dead Space 3. I think it got a bad rap though, because I watched Christopher Rod again play a little bit of it, and I remember thinking this is good, this isn't bad, But I guess it was at a time when people were like, no, don't make that a multiplayer game, and then they just kind of gave it a really bad rap off the bat.
Yeah. Dead Space 3, if I remember correctly, was much more action oriented. I think that they tried to maybe get away a little bit from the horror aspects and give you more like an action game, which is not necessarily bad all the
Right.
time, but for a Dead Space game, you definitely want that kind of survival horror aspect to a game.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to replay those games because it's been a really long time since I've played them, and Dead Space One to me is one of the greatest
Mm,
survival horror games I've ever played.
yeah.
Um, and I don't really remember two. I've been watching you play a little bit of two, but I'm trying
Yeah.
to like not watch it too much because I want to play it myself. And then,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Well, I
excited to
mean,
play
that's the thing
through.
is like number one is just paced so well. Just
Yeah,
it's one of those games you get to the end of it, without having to try too hard.
yeah, very cool. Well, yeah, you've just been playing all kinds of horror games. I'm kind of jealous because I've been trying to
You're having fun.
save all of the horror games for October, but it's tough because I love a good horror game. And
Yeah.
finding a good horror game is really difficult, but all three of those are fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, cool.
Yeah, it
Well,
takes time. I really it takes me a while to figure out especially in a genre like that. It's like I'm trying to keep it to the best ones that I can think of,
yeah.
and go back to the other ones later after I think everybody kind of has a little bit of what am I thinking, like a little bit of schooling on the genre, like once our community has that, it's like, okay, now we can go back maybe into some of the indie titles or something like that and try different stuff, but go over
I
the heavy hitters first.
I hate that I grew up playing PC games and didn't really get into consoles until very late in my life, just really a few years ago. And so I hate that I missed some of the really great games, like the early Resident Evil games
Mm.
and Silent Hill and those kind of games. I would love to be able to go back and play those. I can't wait. I'm sure you're super excited for Resident Evil 2.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
that just looks
Yeah,
unbelievably good.
it really does, and I mean, and it looks so much. Uh, they're really keeping to, from what I've seen, it follows the Resident Evil 2 games because I just finally played through Resident Evil 2,
Oh, did you?
all the way for the first time, um, a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, a few weeks ago, and now watching like the 15-minute it's not really a trailer, gameplay demo that they put out.
Oh, I haven't even
It
watched it.
looks, oh dude, I mean, it's like you're, I don't, it's like it's all in high fidelity finally. It's
I
all right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to watch it so bad, but at the same time, like I just want to go into that game knowing as little as possible because I've never played Resident Evil 2. I've played a tiny bit of Resident Evil 1. I'm definitely going to finish Resident Evil 1, the remaster, before I go into that. But I want to just go in knowing as little as possible about that game and just, just engross myself in that game.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, my mouth is shut.
yeah.
Great
um,
games though. I will, like, you have to play them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey Jesse, by the way, thank you so much for coming out. Jimbo, I'm sure Jimbo's super excited for RE2. And Miss Chibiti had a wonderful experience with Amnesia.
Oh yeah.
Miss Chibiti is a fellow streamer, and she streamed Amnesia, and it was pretty hilarious to watch.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah. I keep on being told by all my followers to like get a heart rate monitor. That's the one thing I keep
I
hearing.
know that's what
Get
I'm gonna
yourself a heart
do.
rate monitor.
I've got to do that.
Right? I mean,
Um,
that makes it interesting for, even if you've seen it before, now you want to watch everybody do it, right? Because if
mhm,
everybody does it with a heart rate monitor, you really get to see like how everybody is affected by stress,
yeah,
which is its own little interesting experiment.
for sure. All right. Well, any other games that you want to talk about that you've been playing, or is that it?
Um, I'm okay right now. Yeah, those are the main ones I'm playing right now.
Cool. Well, I'll just kind of run through a few of the games that I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of games. I started a new playthrough of Fallout 4. I've been wanting to replay Fallout 4 ever since it came out, really. I I played through Fallout 4 when it first launched. I stayed up like all night, all day playing that game. I think I finished the game in like 2 or 3 days. I mean, I burned through it, and I don't think I really fully appreciated that game because I kind of burned through it really fast. I can't remember what was going on that year, but there were a bunch of other games that I think had come out right at the same time, and
Oh
so I
yeah,
was
last year was just crazy with the releases. So
yeah. Well, it always is around that time. It launched in fall. I think it was 2015 or 2016. And so there were so many other games that came out. So I never played through the DLC. I never modded the game, which it's a Bethesda game, so you got to mod it like crazy and
right,
mod it until it breaks.
yeah.
So
I've never modded one.
you've never
I've
modded
never modded
one?
one. Like, cause I start doing it, and then it's like I want another mod and another mod, another mod. All of a sudden, like the mods aren't playing well together. I
Yeah.
can't, like, it's
Well, the old joke is that you spend you spend like 2 weeks modding the game, and then you get into it and you start playing for a couple hours, and like, I'm kind of bored of this now. I want to play something else.
Right.
um,
Because you spent all that time like modding it
right,
to be perfect. It's like I've already been playing it.
right. I found a really good guide for Fallout 4 that was like an immersion modding guide. And
Uh-huh.
so it gave me just a ton of mods to kind of start out with as a base mod list that didn't really affect gameplay too much, but it was just like graphical and bug fixes and everything like that. And then I added just kind of a few other things to make the game just more enjoyable to play. Nothing that really changed the mechanics or anything too much, but man, that's a really fun game. I
Fallout
know,
4 is.
yeah, I know it
Yeah.
gets a lot of hate sometimes, but it's just I don't know. There's just something about Bethesda games that I love that
Yeah.
they're buggy as all get out,
Well,
but
Todd Howard always says, right? He's like, if a game is not something that you write down and say this is how a game works. A game is always defined by gameplay.
yeah,
That's what Todd always says. So that's probably why his games are so addictively fun. Is because like he doesn't gauge it by what looks good at what what a developer says is good, like X, Y, and Z. He has his team play it and then improve it by the gameplay, and that's the major thing.
yeah, for sure. It's just so fun to just be, exploring the wasteland and you're on your way, you've got a quest, you're on your way, and you just come across like some random situation, where these raiders are fighting the settlement or something like that, and then you go in and step in and help, and then you start learning about the stories of the settlement, and then they give you quests, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. It's like one thing leads to the next, and
yeah,
you never know where the next story is going to come from.
it's a playthrough that I think I'll probably be spending a very long time on. Not necessarily streaming at all because it's probably kind of boring to just watch, someone just go through and just like loot every single body and every single
Yeah,
container that you come across. But
the gunplay looks a lot better in Fallout 4 than the other games
oh,
as well. Like it
Moon,
looks
it's
like an
so
actual shooter
good.
in
Yeah,
some
have
ways.
have you played Fallout 4?
A little bit,
Okay.
some a little bit.
Did
Yeah.
you have you played Fallout 3 or New Vegas?
Yes. Yep. I played all of Fallout 3, and did I beat New Vegas? If I didn't beat New Vegas, I mean I still played a ton of it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, I would give anything because Fallout 3, well, and New Vegas, they're both really, really great stories. I would give anything if they could add the gunplay from Fallout 4 into 3 and 4, and have the ability to mod your weapons. And I don't mean like mod them with Nexus mods or something like that, but mod them mod them
Like
with like adding scopes and adding different barrels and different attachments and things like that. It's so fun. But yeah,
yeah.
that's a really fun game. I don't care what anyone says. I love Fallout
I
4.
don't care what anyone says.
um,
It looks great to me. You sold me, Hal. I'm sold. I gotta play it now.
yeah, go out and play it. It's hours, hundreds of hours of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, I
Modding, you mean?
yeah,
Hundreds of
absolutely.
hours of modding fun.
And then you
Sorry.
play the game for 2 hours and then you're done.
Yeah.
Next up, I okay, so I started a game that I thought I went in really thinking that I was not going to like this game, and that was Bayonetta.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my goodness, Moon, this game. If you like, if you like Dark Souls, and I
Yeah.
know everybody compares everything to Dark Souls,
Right.
but if you like a challenging game that, and by challenging, I don't mean like, you have to be not like a Mario game where you have to be super precise and can't make any mistakes or anything like that. But if you like a fighting type game where the enemies are extremely challenging but fair,
Right.
Bayonetta is just fantastic. It blew me away as far as my expectations go. I really didn't know
Wow.
what to expect. Um, it's it's almost like a fighting game, like a Mortal Kombat type game where you have
Yeah.
a bunch of different combos and things like that, which I was not expecting. I was expecting it to be much more of like a just spam attack over and over and over again. But you have these different combos that you can use, and it's very overwhelming at first because there's like 50 different combos that pop up on the screen that you can use.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I was like, guys, I don't know if I can do this because it's so much stuff. But you start to learn like there's like three or four combos that you'll just get into the swing of things of using those specific ones. And then you'll start to, eventually learn how to chain those combos together. The main mechanic is called witch time, where you dodge an enemy at the perfect time, and it slows down time around you, and then you can get off more combos and more attacks and more things like that. And I can't tell you how satisfying it is to get that perfect dodge, go into witch time, and then just kill a bunch of enemies. The story is really interesting. I wasn't expecting the story to be that interesting, but um, it's very interesting. Lots of lore, lots of books to read. The only negative I have, well, a couple of negative things I have for this game. There's one level in particular. If anybody has played Bayonetta, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. It's like one of the worst designed levels of all time. You're
Oh
riding a
no.
rocket, and you you have
Bayonetta's
to.
riding a rocket.
Yes, there's. It's a very stylish game. There's a lot of things that, well, I'll just say it's a very stylish game.
Hmm.
um, there's a level where you're riding a rocket and you can dodge, but when you dodge, the entire screen like flips around, and if you have any kind of motion sickness, you will get
Oh no.
sick playing this.
Oh no.
It's awful. And it
Yeah.
lasts for like 15 minutes, and it's just constantly dodging. And I don't know why in the world they designed it like this.
Oh
Um,
no.
it didn't ruin the game for me, but it really took it down a couple of levels. So that's the only thing that I'll also go into that. Just expect later on in the game there's a level that's going to be really really bad. Just get through that, and then it'll be great again.
Right. So I mean, but you're going on just the first one. So but you are going to play the second one, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And people have told me that Bayonetta 2 is even better than Bayonetta 1, which like I said, Bayonetta 1 blew me away, so I can't wait to go into Bayonetta 2. And they've announced Bayonetta 3 as well. That's
Oh
coming
yeah,
out
yeah.
I think next year. So I'm so excited for that series now. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about Bayonetta. Um, and
Very
it's
cool.
available on PC now too, which
Yeah.
is wonderful because you can play it at 1080p or higher, 4K if you want to, 60 frames a second. It looks beautiful. So yeah,
I
go
know
get
now
that
it's a
game.
toss up. Do I get it on my Switch so I have it everywhere, or do I get it on the PC? Probably on the PC because it's easier to
Well,
stream.
I bought it on both. So
uh,
here's the thing. I got it on PC, and then I of course want to play Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 is only on Nintendo, so it's either the Switch or the Wii U. But if you buy Bayonetta 2, it comes with a free copy of Bayonetta 1, so it's the best of both worlds. So yeah, I'll play through that game again for sure on the Switch.
mm-hmm.
Um, but moving on,
Yep.
Hollow Knight. I'm still
Oh,
playing
good
Hollow
game.
Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing this game for like the past month,
Mm.
and this is another game that I cannot give enough praise to.
Oh, I want to play it so bad.
It's a very classic Metroidvania. Now I've never played a lot of the Metroidvanias. Like I said, I grew up on PC, so I didn't really play any of the Castlevania, Metroid games, any of those games. But this game is just so good. It's an incredibly long game. I've been playing this game for probably 50 plus hours now, and I
Yeah, I've
still
heard
haven't
it.
finished it.
I heard it's pretty long. That's what I hear.
And they're still releasing DLC for it. That's free DLC. This game is $15, Moon.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
get it on the
No, I've got it on
Switch.
PC. I don't have it on. I got it on PC, and then later I found out, like, after I just started playing, that it was going to come out for the Switch, and I was like, uh, kind of want it for my Switch.
Yeah,
It's one of those games I kind of want. It's like when I played the Metroid games or whatever on my Game Boy SP or whatever that was. Like, I loved having that thing around. I wanted that experience again.
right.
That kind of experience.
Yeah, it's the fighting is so accurate, so smooth. The all of the controls just feel fantastic. The sense of exploration in this game is so good. I like I said, it's a huge game. I keep coming to areas that I've never found before, and it's so fun to start exploring an area. The way it works as far as maps go, you go into an area, and you don't have any kind of a map for it until you find a an NPC that is a map maker, and then you can buy a map from him, and then that will only give you part of the map, and then
Right.
you'll be able to explore and kind of fill in the map as you go. And so I just love the exploration. I love the combat. The bosses are very challenging. It's a fantastic game. That's all I can
Yeah.
say about that.
Yeah. The little bit that I played, I remember thinking the combat is very satisfying because it feels like the way that it's set up, it feels like you really have to place your shots, move correctly. There's no because of the way that your character moves to, you're not really button mashing as much as you're being precise, and that's something that I like in those types of games.
Yeah,
Same reason I like Dark Souls and stuff is more of that precision.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. It's the
Mm-hmm.
Dark Souls of Metroidvania games.
Uh huh.
Got
Yeah.
to get another,
If it
Dark
ain't
Souls
broke,
comparison
don't
in there.
fix it.
Hey, Jesus Hype. Oh, this is You're Amazing. Awesome. So many people change their names and I get so confused. But I'm so glad to have all you guys here. I really appreciate everyone coming out. Last up, I will just quickly talk about Octopath Traveler. Have you played
Ooh,
any
I
of this
like.
game yet?
I've watched a bit of it and it looks awesome. It's out on Switch now.
It is. So I just played through the demo. There's a free demo, which is awesome. I love that more games are coming back with demos. Back in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, every game got a demo, and I loved that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that more games are coming out with demos.
Remember
But
like shareware?
yeah, you can, play up to 3 hours of one character, and there's actually 8 different characters in this, so you can, I guess, technically get 24 hours of play out of it if you wanted to. Um,
Oh right. Oh
but
right.
you
Okay.
only get to play like the very first part. But this is a beautiful game that's getting tons and tons of critical acclaim. Everybody is really loving this game. I am not 100% sold on it yet.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, it's a very good game, but there's, uh, uh, well, okay. So I haven't played a lot of JRPGs. This is a JRPG, kind of like some of the older Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, it looks
Um,
like what I loved about Final Fantasy 3 on the SNES when I
I've
was
heard a lot
younger.
of comparisons to Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy
Yeah.
6. So yeah, if you like those kind of games, I'm sure you will love this kind of game. And I'm sure that I will love it too. It's just taking me a little longer to get adjusted to things because the combat is turn-based. The biggest thing that I was getting confused by is none of the enemies have health bars, and so it's very difficult. Like if you go into a an enemy encounter, I'd like to know, if this enemy has 100 HP or if he has 20 HP, because then that kind of determines my tactics that I'm going to use.
Right.
Because if I've got like 5 more HP to knock off of an enemy, then I may go ahead and burn a healing potion. But if I've got like 50 more HP, then I may just die and just restart the encounter. So someone was telling me that you can get a skill that shows the enemy's HP. So again, I'm sure it's just me that I'm just not understanding the mechanics, and I'll get more adjusted to that. But the story is really interesting. Each character, like I said, there's 8 characters, and each character has their own backstory. So
Right.
you start out with one of the characters that you choose, and you play through their backstory, and all of their backstories are completely different. And then I haven't gotten far enough, but I'm assuming that their stories start to intertwine, or they meet up and you form a party, and then continue
I mean,
your story that way.
yeah, it seems like an incredible amount of gameplay. Like
It does,
I mean
yeah.
in my head I'm thinking like, okay, so are they basically taking the concept of like the older JRPG and then they're saying, but now you can play it through like 24 different ways? Well, I mean, not ways, but with 24 different stories. Each, what is the game like? I don't know, probably like 40, 50 hours long,
I would think
or
so. Yeah,
maybe longer.
probably. I think I've read on reviews that it's about 40 plus hours. So
Right.
that's
So it's like,
that's
that's a
crazy.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you get 8 characters that you can have completely different experiences with that. And each, like I said, each character is completely unique, so they have their own different abilities and tactics that you can
They fight
use.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I'm excited to continue that. I'm just a little overwhelmed because, it's
Yeah.
like another one of these 50-hour games that
Yeah.
there's so many of these.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's basically all I've been playing this week.
You've been
Which
staying busy then.
yeah, I've been playing a lot. No horror games, unfortunately. I can't wait for October. I'm gonna go crazy in October with horror
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there.
So let's move on to talking just a little bit about the news.
Okay.
It's pretty dry right now. There's not a whole lot that's going on.
Right.
The biggest
Midsummer.
thing that I saw was so let's talk about No Man's Sky.
No Man's
Has anyone ever heard
Sky.
of this game, No Man's Sky? It was kind of
No
hyped up
man.
a little bit. So No Man's Sky came out almost 2 years ago, and everybody knows the story. It was hyped up beyond imagine and did not deliver, not even
Can you fly in
close.
it? Yeah, you can fly in
Yeah, did not deliver nearly as much as they were showing off. Lots of broken promises and things like that, but amazingly,
Characters ever meet? No, characters. It's infinitesimal if they would ever meet. Day
oh,
later, they meet.
that killed me so much when he talked about that, and then on
Yeah.
the very first day,
Yeah.
there were people that were finding each other's planets.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah, so anyway, uh, credit to the devs. They have stuck with this game. They've continued
okay.
to work on this game. They put out
Uh,
like 3 or 4 major updates, and I think we're finally up to a point to where this game is close to what was being promised initially.
wow,
Um,
really?
I think so. It's only taken them 2 years. you know
Oh,
this
yeah, yeah. I'm looking through some of it right now.
this game definitely should have launched in early access. That's what it has felt
Yeah.
like. Basically, has
It felt
been.
like an indie game when it came out
Yeah, and
to
it's
me, but like
crazy.
a low price, value indie game.
If this game had launched at like $15 or $20 in
Yeah.
early access, and they had said, look, we've got a solid foundation here. We're going to add more features into it. It's crazy how different I think people would have looked at it. But this game came out as a $60 AAA game, promising all these features, promising everything,
Yeah.
and
The moon and stars.
exactly. Um, and yeah,
The
they really
underwater
failed
picture here
to.
that I'm looking at, generation. If this is what they're trying to say, some of the generation looks like now, um, looks pretty beautiful actually.
It
Huh.
does.
I might have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, I think I may kind of jump back in. My worry is that it's still kind of the base game, and you still have this base loop of going to planets. You have to find materials, crafting materials to explore more, and there needs to be more direction to it, which I
Yeah.
believe there
Yeah.
has. They've added like a 30-hour story to it now,
Oh, that's good.
which is mostly just lore stuff from what I understand, but at least they have some kind of story and more direction to it and everything like that. But
Yeah.
Sean Murray, the lead director and dev of this game, he
Mm-hmm.
just put out a statement today. Today is the 23rd.
Mr. Murray. All
He
right.
he just put
Hear what he
out
has to
a
say.
statement, which is basically an apology, um,
Oh, poor guy.
saying that we made some big mistakes. We know that we messed up. We're trying to make good on our promises and go back and fix this game. I just don't understand why he didn't do this 2 years ago. It seems like that would
I
have
got the feeling that
really.
I don't know. I just got the feeling that like
He probably had
Sony
lawyers
and all these
telling
people
him
were
to
just
not.
putting all this pressure on him,
Yeah,
and then they were just like, okay, now you go out there and sell it. you know,
yeah.
you be the guy in front of the camera, and it was just kind of like I don't think he was ready for it.
Well,
I don't think
that's
that
a
they
very good
prepared.
point. I mean,
You know,
this is a little tiny development team of, I think
yeah,
like 12 or 15 people, and they don't have a community manager or anybody like that. Sean Murray has said that he does not really like to do this kind of stuff as far as talking in public and being a community manager, and so he was just kind of thrown into that position. Again,
yep,
I don't want to make it sound like I'm making excuses because he
right.
definitely lied about some stuff
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. Can you do this? Yeah, you can do
yeah.
that.
But it seems like they are finally at a point with this next update, which I guess I don't think I even said. So this next update comes out tomorrow. It's a
Mhm.
massive update that adds multiplayer, adds true multiplayer. You can play with up to four of your friends. Um, there's a bunch of new biomes. There's a bunch of new areas that you can explore. A bunch of new things to do. I think you can like build underwater and
Yeah, it looks pretty.
yeah, do all kinds of interesting
Little
stuff now.
Subnautica vibe going on there.
I know I was thinking the same thing. Um, so yeah, I think I'm gonna maybe check this game out again. It seems like the perfect kind of just chill game to play after a long day. Just jump in and just fly
How
around
about
for a
once you
couple of
play it
hours.
first, then kind of
Well,
decide.
I own the game, so I
Yeah,
have
oh,
it on
good. That's
Steam,
good.
so I might as well check it out again.
Yeah. And then can you get it on PC?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's available
Oh, okay.
on Steam. I think you can also get it on GOG.
Okay.
Um, oh, and so the big thing with this is it's releasing on Xbox One for the first time. So it
Oh,
initially just launched on PS4 and PC, but this is their official launch on the Xbox One. So it's now available
nice.
on all the main consoles except for the Switch. This would be a
Right.
really fun game to play on the Switch, but there's no way they're going to get this thing running on the Switch, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so. You got one of
Um,
those shiny new Xboxes, Hal? One of the what are they called?
the
The
One X,
Super Xbox One
the Super
4K.
Xbox One X.
Yeah, what, yeah, oh that okay, what is it? I forget what it's called. Anyways, I don't have one.
I don't. No. I honestly wish there was a reason for me to get an Xbox.
Yeah.
I I've thought about it many times, but there's literally nothing I would play on it because
Yeah.
everything that Microsoft puts out also comes out on the PC now. So there's just
Yeah.
no reason for me to get it.
Reason.
I wish that
I
there
felt the same way.
was. I want a reason, but yeah, there's. I guess maybe I could go back and play some of the old games, like the old Halo games.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm really bad at aiming with controllers,
Yeah, me too.
and so I don't know how well I would do at some of the
Well, I'm
old.
bad at aiming in general.
Yeah,
So
a mouse just makes me a little bit better.
yeah.
um, yeah, Gun Shows is saying that the PS4 has vastly outsold the Xbox One for good reason. It definitely
Yeah.
has. I mean,
Exclusives
the
alone.
exclusives on PS4 are just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They have really blown away Xbox and Microsoft in general. I really hope that Microsoft does, comes back and gets us some good exclusives, but I don't see anything on the horizon. I mean, they have Crackdown 3, which
It doesn't look great to me.
it
I'm
doesn't
not
look
hyped
great.
about it. I'm just like, it is what it
They
is. I
have
mean, it looks like a
uh,
game.
they have Sea of Thieves, which they're continuing to work on. That game just doesn't appeal to me at all.
I
Um,
enjoyed playing the little bit that because I got like that free 2 weeks or whatever that they offered
yeah.
for yeah, and I played it and I was like, well, nah, I'm
Did
not gonna
you
pay $60
uh
for this thing.
did you play any State of Decay too?
No, it looks interesting though.
Yeah, that's one that I'm still kind of interested in. I think I'm going to save up my Game Pass and get that Game Pass closer to the Forza Horizon 4 launch and maybe
Right.
play through that. And because the thing about Game Pass is you can just buy a month of that, and then you get all the Microsoft games included for that.
Right.
So I may just wait for a month when I just want to burn through a bunch of those games and check those out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, anyway, No Man's Sky, I'm pretty excited about jumping back into that and checking it out. Hopefully, it won't be too disappointing, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see what they might come out with. Hopefully, they come out swinging.
Yeah. Um, Next up, did you ever play the Culling?
No, but I've heard about it. It I looked it over though. It's a battle royale game. Was it a battle
So
royale
the
game?
Culling was one of the early battle royale type games, um, in that specific genre. I don't remember exactly when it came out, but it was a pretty popular game. And then PUBG came out, Fortnite came out. What's the other one? Daisy, is that one or?
Yeah, I believe so. Something like that. Yeah, yeah. It was
Um,
like those three for a while, wasn't it?
yeah, definitely PUBG and Fortnite just completely overshadowed well, basically all these other games. But the Culling 2 came out kind of out of nowhere. Like they didn't really announce this thing or anything. It just like all of a sudden showed up on Steam, and there were quite a few people playing it day one, but then by the next day, this game had gone down to like two concurrent players on Steam. There was no
That's
one that is playing
horrible.
it.
Yeah.
Um, and so
Wow, that's
this
harsh.
was actually pretty shocking. The devs came out and they said, we're pulling the game from Steam. We're taking it off. We're offering refunds to anybody that have bought this game, which good on them for doing. And
Yeah.
they're going to go back to the Culling 1 and just try and work on that, which I think is probably the right move. Just try and, continue improving that game. And I think that's the neat thing about gaming, these types of games nowadays, is that you don't necessarily need a sequel. If you look at Warframe came out in like 2013, I think it was,
Wow, I
and
didn't
they
realize it was
just
that wild.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been out forever, and they just
Haven't played it.
continue to add updates to it, and that game is free to play as well. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, the number of like great free to play games is really it's rising all the time.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I never knew if that model would really work, but it's starting to.
well, free to play.
Sure.
You look at Fortnite, and I think that they've made something like $100 million this year.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane. Of course, that's kind of an anomaly. Is Fortnite? Not every game is going to do that, of course. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that the Culling 2, they completely pulled the game from Steam, and then they're going back to their original roots and just gonna work on that. So good luck
Yeah.
to them. I hope it works out for them.
Yeah. Ah.
So did you ever play Aliens Colonial Marines?
No, but I did watch some of it, and I remember when it did come out. I remember looking at the reviews and cringing.
Yeah, so this game was another game similar to No Man's Sky that they hyped up. They talked so much about. I think it was an early access
Weren't they
game.
really hyping the AI about it as well?
Yeah. Um, they they were really hyping this game up, and this game came out and was literally broken. I mean, the A the AI just was broken. It would just like freeze in place, run in place. You could the AI, as in the aliens, you would play as a group of colonial marines that were hunting the aliens, and
Right.
you would just see some hilarious videos on YouTube of people just walking up like right to the aliens, and an alien would just be standing there just like running against a wall or something like that.
Right.
Well, somebody was messing around with the code, or actually, it was just the INI file, like where the settings are, and they found out that the devs had spelled tether wrong.
Tether.
They put they put an A in tether,
Teether.
TEATHER, and
Teether.
apparently that was causing like 90% of the problem of the AI that was messing up the AI. And so they figured out
Wow.
that if you just change that, then it pretty much fixes the AI. It's still pretty buggy, but
Yeah.
I just thought that was hilarious. This game has been out for years, and the devs, you know, I guess they don't use spell check or something. I don't know. Um, but anyway, the last thing that I'd put on here, which I thought was just interesting, is there was an article that came out about a Switch emulator that these people have been working on that apparently runs games better than the Switch. It runs a lot of these
Oh,
games at 1080p, 60 frames per second, which is just, I don't know, it's kind of sad to me because I love my Switch so much, but I
yeah,
wish
me
so
too.
much that they would have given us like an Xbox One X version of the Switch, you know? Like I would have gladly have paid more for a more powerful Switch to run these games at 60 frames and even Zelda I think only runs at 900p
Right.
and 30 frames a second. So I don't know. I just
Saved by an excellent art direction, I think, but yeah, still 900p.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt that Nintendo games have beautiful art and beautiful style, but you know, it's 2018. Give us 1080p at least.
It's 2018, okay? We demand better, Nintendo. Get your act together, Nintendo.
But that's just
Too
Nintendo. They're so in their own world. They're gonna do whatever they want, and people are gonna buy it
One
no
of
matter
these
what.
kids is doing their own thing,
Yep.
and it's Nintendo. Spoiler. Yeah.
But that's about all the news I had. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about news wise? There's not a lot.
No, I haven't. No. Besides what we saw at E3, like I haven't really been paying attention to much news since then. All the major stuff around that time was like the major stuff that I came across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Gunshows is saying, or Gunshow Grizz is
Uh-huh.
saying Alien Isolation is really sick in VR. Oh man, I would love to. Well, I say I would love to play that game in VR, but I make it only take like an hour of that or so in VR. That would be
Yeah,
sick though.
VR games also like scary games in VR are pretty scary.
Yeah,
Uh like just that feeling of something right next to you is not the same as something that's through a screen. Like
yeah,
when you're playing in VR, the thing feels like it's there. When you're playing on your TV screen, it's like, oh, it's like through that window into the
right.
other world, So you have a little bit of safety.
Yeah,
With VR,
I've
it's like, don't touch me.
I've been very slowly playing through Resident Evil 7 in VR, and I played through that game before, but it is just like a completely different experience playing it in VR.
Is it
Uh,
really?
it's terrifying. I mean, it feels like you are
Wow.
literally right there.
Yeah. And it's weird too how that like changes the way you look around too.
Mm-hmm.
Um that's one thing I noticed in VR like off the bat is like when you're playing a game like on your PC, like you're looking around, you might miss a lot of stuff, right? But when you have the ability to just like look around and just see it, like all of a sudden like you're noticing things that you never noticed before in the room. Just it's not the same room that you thought it
It's
was.
yeah, the level of immersion is just insane. Do, do you have what type of VR do you have? It sounds like
Oculus Rift.
you
I've
have
been waiting for
Oculus.
Resident Evil 7 to come to it. I thought it was supposed to be out already.
I know. I don't
I don't
know.
know if it's gonna happen.
I don't think that it's like an exclusive deal with PlayStation that they have or
Not
anything.
anymore.
So
No, it was the exclusivity was supposed to have run out 6 months ago, I think, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have no
I
idea what's going on.
maybe we'll get RE2 in VR. That could be cool.
That would be awesome. I'll take it.
Although
Yeah.
third person VR would be really weird. So I think that's going to be in third
Yeah.
person, right?
I think there's rumors that you'll be able to switch between the different viewpoints. So
I
I
think
mean,
they
I,
were
I
saying
think
that
that's
you
something to
can
happen.
switch between third person and like the classic kind of top down
Oh right, yeah.
isometric perspective, but I don't know if it's going to be
First
in
person.
first person.
Yeah.
But
Huh.
anyway, yeah, VR is awesome. I just wish that we had more.
Me too.
Um, you
They
know,
did. They
fall.
did. say a lot of stuff at E3, like new stuff coming out, but it's just
They
like,
did, but they said that last E3 as well, and we didn't
oh,
really
okay, I
get
didn't know that.
we didn't really
Dragging
get a
their feet.
lot.
Yeah.
You can play Fallout 4 in VR. Have you played any of that?
No,
Yeah, you
I need
can.
to.
It's
That'd be a good. That'd be a good option.
that's actually a really good experience in VR because um, it's crazy how like you were saying, in when you're playing on just a 2D screen, like you can crouch behind something, but you're just hitting C to crouch, but when you're playing in VR, like, you actually can get down and crouch behind something, and
Yeah.
it's so crazy how the immersion takes over at that point. And
Oh,
it's so
absolutely.
fun to, like, you have your controller and you're like reaching out around to something to shoot around something. Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like to me, it feels like what I always wanted from like the holodeck in Star Trek.
Oh,
That's
Moon.
what VR feels
You and
like to
me,
me is the
man.
holodeck. Yeah.
Yep. That's always been my dream ever since I was a little kid watching Star Trek uh Next Generation,
Uh-huh.
to have that holodeck experience.
Oh yeah.
That was just the coolest thing ever when I was a kid, and we're close. We're getting there.
It's like we're right on the cusp of it. It's still exciting where we're at though.
Oh yeah. It's crazy what they've done with it so far. All right, well, let's move on, and let's just talk about, this is just kind of our free talk segment where we just talk
Right.
about whatever we want to. I just kind of threw a few subjects in here, a couple of questions. And guys, anybody in chat too, if you guys have any questions or any subjects that you want to talk about, feel free to let us know. And we'll be sure and try and do our best to answer or talk about those as well. So,
Yeah.
first thing I had up, what genre of game would you like brought back, or is there a genre of games that you just don't think that we have enough of?
Hmm.
And I'll be glad to go first if you don't have
Yeah. Why
anything
don't you go first?
right off the top. So for me, I would love a really good heist game. Like, and I know that we have Thief, like we have some of the older Thief games, but those are all set in like medieval times. I would love, if anybody's played GTA 5, the heist in those games. Have you played GTA 5, Moon?
Yes. Yes.
So the way that they did those, there were only a few of them in the single player. I know that you can do them in multiplayer, but I just like playing by myself. um,
Right.
I would love a game that is centered around like a modern day thief who is like an Ocean's 11 kind of person. That you get a crew together and you plan out this super elaborate heist of like a bank or a casino or just anything. It would be so fun to have a game where you could do that, and uh, not like a big open world, but I think a linear game would work really good where you have like, like kind of like a Hitman type game where you have levels of maybe 5 or 6 really in-depth levels that you could replay over and over again and do different things.
Right.
And now that I say that, I guess Hitman is probably the closest thing that we have to that.
Right.
But I want it to be more of like an actual heist game focused on a thief. But that's what I would love to have.
Right. Man, I don't know. I feel like so many of the older genres have been brought back recently. Is like when I was going through my head as you were talking, I was like, huh. I was like, oh, roguelikes, yeah. But no, but then we have so many new roguelikes right now. And I was like, well, point and clicks,
Well,
but I'm like, because I used to love point and clicks when I was younger. Actually, that would be a good one. I'd love to have like Space Quest, King's Quest, and the Police Quest games. For some reason, I would love to have those like remade or something
never
like
played
that
any
for a
of
new
those. Are
age.
those all point and clicks?
Yeah, those are they're kind of like point and clicks. They're like the old Sierra Quest games where you actually had to type
Oh,
it out,
yeah.
like walk to and do that, whatever. Um, Having like because that like Space Quest was the game that really got me into uh, adventure games where you had to do the command, walk to, talk to, grab, combine. all those things, and that it was this sci-fi game because I was into Star Trek at the time, and well, of course, I've always been Star Wars. But because I was into all those things at the time, it was like it was perfect. It's about a space janitor who ends up trying to save the universe, And what an unlikely character, What
Wait,
an unlikely character.
what
It's
game
very
is that?
funny. It's called Space Quest.
Oh, Space Quest.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there
Interesting.
was like Space Quest, King's Quest, Police Quest. I mean, there's lots of stuff, but I mean, I think that something like that, like a remake of that, like for a fresh new vision on it, would make me pretty happy. But it's just because that was a childhood favorite of mine. Yeah,
Lunar saying Holodeck Dreams 10 out of 10. Yeah, man.
that's right.
Um, Gunshow says I'd like Star Citizen, but at this point I don't think it will ever be finished. Too much of a tech demo and worked on by a company that seems unable to finish what they started.
Kind of
Yeah,
feels that way. Yeah.
Star Citizen, I think we are going to get it at some point. I'm just worried that they're going to get to a point to where um, they just release it and it's not finished. I'm kind of worried that they're because they do seem like they just keep going on and on and on and on with no release dates in sight. And
Yeah.
I think that
And
you
what they have
could,
planned still feels like 2 years away.
yeah, I think that if you would talk to many devs of games, they would say that no game is ever really finished. You just kind of get to a point to where you have most of the bugs out of there, and then you release it at
Ship it.
that point. But with a game like Star Citizen, where you have a development team that doesn't have any publisher or really has any reason to release it, they can just kind of keep working on it for as long as they want. And I think that they would do that, but I think that people are going to eventually say, all right, enough is enough. We want our game.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, and people have spent a lot of money on that freaking game.
yeah,
Like,
that, no
and they've got
doubt.
to feel that like the anger level's got to be rising.
Yeah. So
Get that game out.
And I'm the same way though. I would love. There's probably, well, maybe Starfield is the next game from Bethesda, and of
I'm
course
excited for that.
we don't know what that game is, but if that is like a true single player kind of, like a Fallout or an
Yeah,
Elder Scrolls game that's
Todd.
set,
Todd's over here. He's like, see that planet over there? You go over
you
there
can
if you
go
can
there,
see
and then
it.
there's a mountain there, and you see that mountain, you can go to
Yeah,
that.
you can go to that.
um, yeah, if that is, like a true open world RPG set in space, and
Mm,
it would be so cool if like you have your own ship, and maybe you could like join up with other ships and crews and things like that, or you could just go out by yourself and just explore the
yeah.
universe and or galaxy or whatever you're going to be in, and just go from planet to planet and star system to star system. That could be like my dream game right there.
I tend to think that that game is going to be something special. Just an inkling. It's just a feeling. But it feels like something that Todd, like, if he would go after that kind of game, that he would want it to feel. He would want that like magical kind of kid feel, like that he
Well,
has to lots of his new releases.
yeah, and what's crazy is they mentioned this, but I don't think a lot of people picked up on this. This is truly their first new
Thanks so much,
IP.
Lunar. By the way, we'll see you later.
Oh, you're heading out, Lunar. All right, thanks so much for coming out. I really enjoyed you being here. But this is their first new IP in 20 years.
Yeah,
They haven't created anything new for 20 years. They've just been doing Fallout and Elder Scrolls. So yeah, it's really exciting that they're working on something completely brand new.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, same thing for Star Citizen. I really hope that I wish the best for them, but I'm just worried that they're going to get to a point to where people are just going to get so fed up and just be like, I don't even care at this point. Just give me something. Just give me whatever you got.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll see. I just want the single player, the Squadron 42. That's all I want in that game.
Right.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about just kind of gaming in general in 2018. I thought since we're like kind of halfway through the year, we could talk a little bit about the best games of the year so far. Um, just off the top of your head, do you have like a game that sticks out for you that's the best?
Yeah, God of War. I
Okay,
mean,
I figured
I
that's what
mean,
you were gonna
yeah,
say.
yeah. I mean, I haven't even finished it yet, but I can. And the reason is because like obviously I can't really stream it because it's like it's too saturated still.
Yeah.
So it's just there doesn't feel to be a reason to do that. But I can already tell from the little bit that I played, it's like it seems to be the best game out there, like of 2018, or right up there with it.
Yeah, for me, it's easily God of War. And I don't want to sound like too much of a PlayStation fanboy, but man, this game is just fantastic. And I've never really been a big God of War fan. I tried playing three. I never played one or two. I couldn't really get into three though. It's very very hack and slashy. Um, but just looking at like the other games throughout the year, we had Monster Hunter World, which I thought was
I can't wait to play
okay.
that either. That looks great.
Yeah, it's finally coming out on PC.
Please.
So Monster Hunter World, I thought it was okay. It was my first Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Far Cry 5 was, it was good, but it was your typical Ubisoft open world game.
Yeah.
We had
That's my
Detroit.
problem with Ubisoft games is they feel a lot
They're
too
all
much alike
very
to me.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Detroit, which I thought was really good.
Haven't finished it yet, but the little bit that I played, fantastic.
It definitely still has some problems,
Right.
some cliches, very obvious cliches in the writing and things like that.
Oh, Subnautica, of course.
Oh,
Had an official release in 2018.
man, you know what,
Yeah.
Moon? Subnautica actually, for me, Subnautica gives God of War quite a close run for the best game of the year. I still
Yeah.
think I've got to give it to God of War, um, but Subnautica, man, that game is just so good. And
Yeah.
I'm usually not into survival games, but the exploration, the story of that game, the setting, the environment,
Yeah.
it is
It's something special,
fantastic.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
But just the
Um,
water effect alone makes you really feel like you're down in the water. Like it's hard to get that feeling correct, in a game.
it's
But it really feels like you're in water.
yes.
Like,
That's another game you can play in VR.
oh
Uh,
yes, yes, and I have played
it's a
it.
little
It's
buggy.
yeah. Well, the thing with it is I love it, but it's that thing about Subnautica of seeing things far out in the distance that you're going towards, like kelp, like out there, right? Like that kelp forest, whatever,
Hmm.
out in the distance, right? But when you're in VR, when you're looking that like way out there, it's all like pixelated and
Yeah,
fuzzy out there, So it's not the same. So that then so I was playing it in VR for a long time that way, and I love the feeling of it. Like, but I did switch over to PC because I wanted that fidelity,
yeah. The graphical fidelity in VR still has a lot to be desired. It leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Like Kingdom
think.
Come Deliverance. I
So did
didn't
you
play it, but I
play?
mean it looked interesting the little bit that I
I
saw.
haven't played it yet. Have you played any?
I haven't played it, no, but I watched a few hours of it actually, and what I saw looked pretty good. It looked like it took its time more than a lot of
Hmm.
similar games, and it definitely had a different flavor than let's say like the Witcher or something like that.
Yeah.
It felt more grounded in the reality of that time period. Uh,
It looks like a slow burn for sure.
mhm.
Um, and I heard it was pretty buggy at launch. The devs have continued to work on it. They've released some major updates. So I think it'll definitely be one that I want to go back and play for sure. Another 50-hour game too, though.
Yeah, yeah, getting your
um,
money's worth though.
but yeah, I think really looking at the games releasing this year, I think it's going to be tough to beat God of War.
Yeah,
We have Red Dead 2, Red Dead Redemption 2 that I think will
I think that.
probably.
Well, no, but that doesn't come out this year, though, does it?
No,
Red
it
Red Dead
does.
Redemption. Oh, it does.
Yeah,
Okay,
October
well, I think that could. I
26th.
think that could be God of War. I think it could.
It very
I
well
mean,
could.
that's a Rockstar game, and Red Dead Redemption One was fantastic. Great game. I didn't think I could get into a Western game before I played
Really?
that, and I just loved it.
I'm sad
Loved
to
it.
say that I've never played Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, it's great.
I know,
So
I know.
good.
I've tried playing it on my PS3,
Yeah.
and man, it runs really, really bad on the PS3.
Oh, yeah.
I've this sounds very, very bad, but I've honestly thought about getting an Xbox just for playing Red Dead Redemption because I heard that
Yeah.
uh, well, they made it backwards compatible, of course, but they also upped the resolution to 1080p and
Yes.
made it run a lot smoother and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's my reason to get an Xbox, but that's a pretty tough sell for just
Yeah.
one game that came out like 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, I saw somebody stream it on Twitch, and it looked great. It looked great with those updates.
Really
Really good. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I think
Yeah, I
they
think.
added like foliage and stuff too.
Oh,
Maybe like a
foliage.
little
I
bit.
like
Yeah.
foliage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 will definitely give God of War a run for its money. I would really love to hear your thoughts on God of War once you finish it, though.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
really fun to
Me
hear.
too. I've got to spend time with that game.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We kind of talked about what games we're looking forward to, but any other games that you're just like really looking forward to, super excited for?
Red Dead, obviously. Resident Evil 2. Yeah, Resident Evil 2. Trying to remember what was that E3 promised for soon. Man, I must not if nothing's coming to mind. Yeah,
Definitely
must not.
RE2 for me. Let's see. I'm just looking through. Are you excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm excited for that. I like that kind of stuff.
Um,
It just makes
I
me feel good.
I know you were playing a little bit of the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and all those games. Have you actually finished them? Have you played through all of
No, no.
those?
I loved it, but man, I wanted to keep playing it, but it just nobody would show up for it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem to have much of an audience.
So are you going to finish those like
Yeah.
off stream before you
Hmm.
play Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. I want to know all the backstory. Plus, I just love playing through all the worlds. The major thing with that, and I think that they're gonna really improve. And maybe I need to play the second one first before I say this, but is the movement is a bit weird. In the
Hmm.
first one, it's just like you can't land on anything. Jumping is so difficult. And also, they didn't really have. You could tell that they weren't really good about it's almost like they made the areas and then they were like then they forced the gameplay and story into those areas. Like it's not like they kind of did it so that it would all work together because they don't really lead you well in that game. It's like, okay, you're in this room, you did the thing, and then it's saying like you need to go get this certain thing, right? But you don't get the understanding that you actually have to go backtrack through like there's usually maybe 5 or 6 different locations in an area and they don't tell you like they make it seem like you're going in one direction but it's like oh but actually what we meant is you need to go back and now this person that didn't want to talk to you all of a sudden does want to talk to you but you're not given any clue that that's what's going on if that makes sense.
This sounds like a
And
game that you definitely need a guide to go through.
yeah, yeah, I was just kind of like oh now I can talk to this person, they
I
just
would
said that I
be
couldn't talk to them.
I would be so lost.
Like,
I have heard
yeah,
that the second one does a lot better on some of those things,
that's good.
some of the movement and some of those things too. I was watching a little bit of 1.5 or the first one or whatever it is. I don't fully understand the nomenclature for those games, but the combat actually looks pretty fun. It looked well. I was surprised that it wasn't. I thought it was always turn based. I didn't realize it was real time.
Right.
But tell me a little bit. Do you have a light and heavy attack, or do you just have one attack, or how does the combat work?
Yeah. So you got like a combo attack, like XXX or whatever it is, and then you basically so you have that, and then you have like a jump, and then you can do a jump attack, which is a different attack. You can do spells, um, and is there one other? Oh, you could wait. So you could do spells, and then I guess cure. Yeah. So you spells on yourself. So I mean that's pretty much it. There's not really a whole lot. Yeah, it is pretty much. I think there might be some different button combinations for the attack,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's just one attack really,
Gotcha.
and then you switch between like your targets. That's the major thing is where you're targeting the enemy.
Do you have like a block, or is there a dodge or anything like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. So you get like a roll.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm still not sure if I want to check those out before. I definitely want to check out Kingdom Hearts 3, but I don't know if I want to put in the time and go through all those other games
Yeah, they're long
before.
in there, and the first one especially is a bit dated. It
Yeah.
is a bit dated. It's still I'm still enjoying it, but it's kind of like it's a little bit of a slog at times.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all right, let's play a little game. You want to?
Sure.
I am going to. This is what I call back of the box. I'm
Okay.
going to give you
Are these
any.
gonna be like well-known games?
Maybe, maybe
Because
not.
if they're super obscure, then there's no way I'm gonna know.
I'm going to give you uh, the quote from the back of the box, and I'm going to let you try and guess what game this is from. And anybody in chat, feel free to blurt
All
out
right,
the
chat,
answers
help
as
me.
well. All right, so let's start with this one. Let's see. Okay, so I'll have to kind of like bleep out some of the things too that would be like a dead giveaway. Okay, so U.S. agent blank has been tasked to look into the abduction of the president's daughter, and his investigation has led him to a mysterious location in Europe. As blank encounters unimaginable horrors, he must find out what is behind the terror.
It's not Resident Evil.
Could
That
be
would be a
Resident
horror
Evil.
game. Not Alan Wake, because that's about a writer. Is this a well-known series?
Yeah, this is a really popular game.
Doesn't sound like Silent Hill. Hmm.
I'll give you a hint. Well, okay, I'll give you a pretty big hint. It is a Resident Evil game.
Okay, I thought maybe it might be. Is it Resident Evil 5?
Not five.
Damn it. It sounded familiar when yeah. Uh
All right,
I'm
I'll
not sure
give
which
you
one it is.
I'll
Is
give
it
you another hint.
okay?
U.S. agent Leon Kennedy has been tasked to look into the abduction of the president's daughter.
Oh, Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
That's why I had to
It just
blank out
finally
his
clicked
name.
with me. It just finally clicked. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's
Yeah.
do another one.
Good game.
Um, all right, let's do this one. All right. As Commander Blank, you lead an elite squad on a heroic, action packed adventure throughout the galaxy. Discover imminent danger from an ancient threat and battle the traitorous Saren as and his deadly army to save civilization. The fate of all life depends on your actions.
Saren, is that Mass Effect?
It is. I almost bleeped out
Nice.
Saren because that was kind of a little bit too much,
Yeah.
but that's good.
Lucky
Um,
for me, I remembered Saren.
let's see. Let me do this one if I can read it. It's really tiny. All
Okay.
right. You've been betrayed and left for dead. Now you're taking. Oh, goodness, I can barely read this. Now you're taking something, unless the city has. Oh, it's so tiny. Hold on. I got to make this bigger.
Okay.
Oh, taking revenge. Now you're taking revenge, unless the city gets you first. Mob bosses need a favor, crooked cops need help, and the street gangs want you dead. You'll have to rob, steal, and kill just to stay out of serious trouble.
Uh, can you say it again?
All right.
Yeah.
Um, you've been betrayed and left for dead. Now you're taking revenge, unless the city gets you first. Mob bosses need a favor, crooked cops need help, and street gangs want you dead. You'll have to rob, steal, and kill just to stay out of serious trouble.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Um, it's a Rockstar game.
Okay, I was gonna say GTA, but I don't remember being Left for Dead. That's what threw me off there. Um,
It's a pretty old Rockstar game. Think like early 2000s.
oh, is it? No, that's not a GT. That's not a Rockstar game.
All right, next hint. It is a GTA game. Which GTA?
I mean, is it the GTA one that was like on the Game Boy or whatnot?
I don't know if this was on Game Boy or not.
Is it
It
the
was
overhead version one?
this was a PS2 game, I think.
Oh, Vice City.
Yeah, it was Vice City.
Okay, I don't remember being Left for Dead in Vice City. I just
I mean, they probably
I
just
don't
say
remember.
that, you know.
Right.
You get shot
I
a few
love
times
Vice
and
City. That's a fun game. I think they've talked about remaking that one, which would be awesome.
yeah, I
Vice
would
City was
love a
fun.
remake of Vice City.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Well, I'll start out with this. Okay, Epic Fantasy Reborn. The next chapter in Blank Saga arrives from Blank Studios, the makers of the 2006 and 2008 Game of the Year. Blank reimagines and revolutionizes the world of fantasy epic, bringing to life a complete virtual world open for your eyes. Open for you to explore any way you choose. The legendary freedom of choice, storytelling, and adventure of Blank is realized like never before.
Final Fantasy Reborn.
No. That's a good guess, though.
That's the one that was screaming out to me.
All right, let me read you a little bit more. This will
Okay.
probably give it away.
Okay.
Dragons, long lost to the passages of blank, have returned to blank, and the future of the empire hangs in the balance. As blank, there's so many things that would give this away.
Is Dragon Age Origins?
No, you're getting closer. Okay,
Oh.
as Dragonborn, the prophesized hero born of the power of the
Oh. Is
voice.
this Skyrim?
Yes.
This is the Dragonborn, right? That's obviously. Um, that's pretty good though. This is a fun little game actually
Let's
for gamers.
see. Yeah, it
That's pretty good.
tests your knowledge. Which I mean, now it's tough because nobody buys boxes of games anymore. You know.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fun little game that I like to play.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. You came up with that?
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
All right. Well, let's see. The only other thing that I do every now and then is I do a little something called "This Day in Gaming History." We
Oh,
can
okay.
make this into a little bit more of a trivia game too. Um, there's a website that I found, a really cool website. It's called mobygames.com.
Uh-huh.
And it gives you, like, you put in the date, which, you know, today is July 23rd, and then it gives you like every game that released on that day back in history.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, for example, like I can look back and
Oh, cool.
in 1978, Star Trek version 17 for the Commodore was
Yeah.
released.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Um,
I just favorited this website. It's pretty cool.
yeah, it's pretty neat. So let's see if I'll give you a game and see if you can guess what year it was released in.
Oh no.
um, I won't go back too far.
Like if I can get it like within a relative
Yeah. Oh, you may have actually played this. Did you ever play Siberia?
no, yeah. Yeah.
If you like,
That's a point and click game, isn't it? Siberia.
it's not like a
With the
full-on
girl
point
who's
and
like
click, but it's very much an adventure
with the
game.
automatons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
great game.
so you want to guess what year the first
Um
Siberia was released for Xbox?
I want. Oh, the original Xbox.
Original Xbox. That should give you
Must
that
have
should give you
been
some rough idea.
right. I would guess 2000,
You're in the right decade.
2002.
Oh, you are very close. 2003.
Oh, oh.
You know, it may have released in 2002 for PC first and then
Mhm.
came out on the Xbox in 2003.
Wow.
But July 23rd, 2003, Siberia was released.
Wow. Yeah, I figured it had to be right around that time. That's a great game. That's a great game.
It is. Funny enough, Siberia 2 was released the following year in Russia.
Oh, no way. I will say that I tried to start playing Siberia 3, but I don't like it.
I know I've heard
I
a
wanted
lot
it to
of
be good. I
that's
wanted it to be good, but
that's so
the
sad.
controls are just so
I've heard a lot of
horrible.
people say that.
Yeah, and it just feels like they just didn't even try. I don't know.
Did you have you
Too
played the
sad.
game? Oh man, it's I can't think of the name of it. It's about a girl. I think her name is Chloe, and uh it's set in Africa, Casablanca.
Oh no, I haven't played it.
Oh, I gotta look it up. You would love this game, Moon.
Yeah.
Let me see. Game set in Casablanca. There can't be too many of those.
Right?
It's not like a full on. It's kind of like Siberia. It's not a full on point and click, but it's a very interesting um, adventure game. Huh, I'm not seeing it. I'll have to message it to you because I think you would really like it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Very good adventure game though.
Nice. I love adventure games.
I don't know that one.
I don't know if you heard that, but my Alexa just woke up.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
All right. Um,
You repeating me, Alexa? No reply.
NASCAR 2008. Do you want to guess what year that game came out?
2008?
Nope. 2007. You know the sport games,
That's
they
a
always
trick
come out.
question.
Yeah,
No.
they always come out the year before.
Oh, I got you.
All right, let's do one more. Let's
All right.
see. Oh, this was a pretty big release. I don't know if you play racing games, but Fuel, the game Fuel, was released in what year? Did you ever play
I
that?
want to say no, I never played it, but I want to say Fuel sounds like it probably came out around the time that those games where you crash the cars into the other car
Yeah,
what are they called?
Burnout.
Burnout. It seems like it would have been right around when that was popular.
Welcome back, Jesse.
Welcome back, buddy. I feel like it would have been around that time, and so what would that have been? Kind of also the early 2000s, maybe. So I don't know, 2005.
2009.
Ah,
Let's see if there's
way off.
anything
Although,
else.
yeah, I was way off. Although, the ones Burnout came out, I think didn't Burnout start like in the early 2000s? I thought it was an Xbox game originally.
I don't know. Burnout. I didn't play Burnout until Burnout Paradise.
Paradise, yeah, that's a good one too. That's the open
Um,
world one, right?
yeah,
Paradise is. Mhm.
yeah, but I do think that they had like two games before that, two or three.
It was fun to have one where like the idea was to crash as many cars as you possibly could.
I was a Need for Speed guy back in the day.
Yeah, I remember
I
that one. Yeah,
played all of the original ones. I think like up until Most Wanted, like the original Most Wanted,
yeah.
and then I kind of fell off of them. Man, there's a bunch of other stuff that released on this day, but nothing like it's all just random stuff, you know, like Tropico 5 map pack or Company of Heroes 2, the Western Front Armies, OKW Commander, Elite Armor Doctrine.
Right.
I'm sure it's all DLC and that kind of stuff, but yeah,
Yep.
that's always fun to look on that website and see like what happened on this date in history.
That's pretty cool.
Well, let's just look through just kind of the upcoming games.
Okay.
We'll just kind of go through these, and if there's anything that you want to talk more about, feel free to stop me. But we've got the Mega Man X Collection 1 and 2 for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch comes out tomorrow. Do you ever play any of the Mega Man games?
Little bit, little bit. I've never really beaten any of them, but I've
I've never played any
played
of
them.
them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to enjoy playing them growing up, but I was not good enough to beat them at the time.
Yeah. Same. I'm still not good
Yeah,
enough to beat them.
yeah. I've got the collection now on my PS4, but I haven't gone back and done it yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Banner Saga 3 comes out tomorrow. I didn't realize that was coming out this
Ooh.
soon.
It's crazy that they've already gotten through 1 and 2, and they're only on 3.
I know. I haven't played any of those, but I have seen a playthrough of one, and it looks really good.
Mm.
Of course, we got No Man's Sky comes out for Xbox One tomorrow, and also the really big launch or the really big update for that comes out tomorrow.
Hmm.
Also, another big update comes out for Ghost Recon Wildlands. I don't know if you played any
Oh.
of that.
I don't, but I do have some friends who play it. They
Yeah,
seem to
that's
really love it, actually.
yeah, that they're actually coming out with a big update that lets you play it completely solo. You don't have
Oh.
to have the AI companions come along, which is personally what I love. I love to play games solo like that, so I may go back and check that out.
Yeah.
The Persistence, that's a PSVR game, comes out. Head Snatchers, I seem to remember Head Snatchers. I can't remember what it's about though. It's a Steam Early Access game. We've got Earhart, Pixel Game Maker M5. Is that a
Hmm.
number? M5?
Heard of it. That sounds interesting, though. Pixel Game Maker.
Is that like
Like your own
55
pixel
or
game?
something?
Sounds cool. It sounds cool if you get to make a pixel game.
It's probably like RPG Maker or something like that. Train Sim World, one of those sim games. Some people are
Hmm.
super into those. I think I could get into those games if I didn't have anything else to do, but
Right.
there's so many
Yeah.
other games.
Yeah.
Um, Ease, I think that's how you say this. YS, I think you pronounce it Ease. Ease Memory of Selketa or
Hmm.
Kelketa. Radiant 1. Sorry, these are on July 25th now. Ease and Radiant 1 are July 25th.
Right.
Wartech Fighters Sleep Tight is July 26th. And WarioWare Gold for
Mm.
3DS on July 27th. So, not a whole lot. I'll probably be checking out No Man's Sky. That's about it on that list. But
Yeah, there's not a whole lot in there that Pixel Game Maker sounds interesting. Like I might want to look that one up, but otherwise, in the Persistence, I would like to maybe take a look at that. Oh, and the Mega Man collection.
I
Wow, I
th-
didn't realize. Oh, okay, so wait, no, that's I've got Mega Man Collection Part 2, I believe. The Switch is one that I've been meaning to get, but I thought that that had already come out.
I think that Persistence is out on Steam VR as well. I
Oh,
think
really?
that's a
Okay, I'll have to go take a
re-release
look at that.
because I think I own that.
Yeah,
Um, but anyway, Moonspartan, thank you so much for doing this with me.
thanks for having me, Hal.
This was a lot of fun. We'll go ahead and wrap up. Why don't you tell everybody just kind of tell everybody who you are again and what you do when you stream and
Yeah,
plug all your stuff.
yeah. My name is MoonSpartan. You can find me at www.twitch.tv was it / MoonSpartan?
Slash, I don't know.
Yeah, one of the slashes, MoonSpartan. I'm a variety streamer. Obviously, I talked about some of the games that I play lately, which have been a lot of horror games. But I do play all different types of games. I'm very much a variety streamer. And I love to play games also with my community. So sometimes we'll do Fortnite, any of the bigger multiplayer games, Dead by Daylight. I try to make time to play those with the community. Um, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Come by, say hello. I'm live Monday through Fridays, usually from around 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time till around 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you can catch me any of those times, and sometimes I'm on the weekends, but it just depends on my schedule. So yeah, you can also find me on Twitter at Moon __ Spartan SPARTAN, where I also post some stuff. When you come onto the channel, I can also give you guys the Discord if you'd like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I just spammed your Twitch in the chat there, so everybody can go give you a follow if you aren't already. Thank you so much again for coming out and doing this with me.
Thanks for having me, Hal.
This, yeah,
Appreciate it, man.
absolutely. This is like I said earlier, this is something that I've been kind of on hiatus with, but I really want to get back into doing this once a week, and hopefully I can just have a variety of people on. I'd love to have you back sometime, Moon. Maybe we can get some more people on and make this a party.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be really cool to do it during like the big release stuff and all that too.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you playing right now? Are you said you're playing through Amnesia?
Tonight I'll probably be playing through Amnesia, but I'm gonna leave it up to my community to see like what they would like between the three that I'm kind of playing right now. So,
Awesome.
um,
Cool.
yeah, I'm trying to make sure that people don't feel like they're just it's the same game another night, you know.
Yeah. 43
Some
straight
variety.
episodes of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, yeah. As much as I love Alien Isolation 2, I could feel like, oh, when they were getting a little bit tired. So I was like, okay, let's play something for a little bit,
Yeah,
We'll
for
get back to
sure.
it because I could play it, but
Cool, cool. Well, yeah, like I said, we'll try and do this, or I'll try and do this once a week at 1 p.m. Central Time. And I'm not sure who I will have on next week, but hopefully I can find somebody in time. If not, then we may skip a week. But anyway, thank you again for coming out, Moon, and thank you all in the chat. And we will see you
thanks
next
everyone.
time. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.